You know, it's kind of wild when you think how much of our day, well, revolves around food, right? That constant need for fuel.
Absolutely. We're pretty much tied to regular meals.
Exactly. And then you read about these animals, these incredible creatures that can just stop eating for months, sometimes even years.
It does make you stop and wonder, doesn't it? How is that even possible? What's their secret?
Yeah. What are these extreme survival strategies? And that's actually what we're digging into today.
Precisely. We're going to take a closer look at some truly remarkable adaptations. We're using an article called 10 Most Unique Animals That Can Live Without Food for Months as our springboard.
Okay.
So our mission isn't just to list them, but to really try and understand how they manage these incredible feats of fasting.
Sounds fascinating. So where do we start? What's first on the list?
Well, let's kick off with one that really sets an extreme benchmark. The olm.
The olm. Okay, remind me. Those are the cave-dwelling amphibians.
That's right. Carnivorous vertebrates live entirely underwater. You find them in the Balkans, parts of Italy. And get this.
Yeah.
They can apparently survive up to 10 years without food.
10 years? Seriously? That's just... How?
It boils down to incredible metabolic efficiency. The article mentions stored lipids and glycogen in the liver. But think about their lifestyle, too. They live in cool, dark caves. They don't move much. Very slow growth rate.
So minimal energy use.
Exactly. Minimal expenditure plus those energy reserves. They can just sip away at them for an unbelievably long time. It's like energy conservation taken to its absolute limit.
A whole decade just by being super, super efficient. Amazing. Okay, let's shift to something maybe a bit more familiar. Camels.
Ah, yes.
The ship of the desert.
And those humps, the article confirms it, right? It's fat storage.
It is. The common idea that it's water. That's a myth. It's packed with fat.
Okay.
And while breaking down that fat does release a bit of metabolic water, which helps,
Right.
the main thing is the energy. It's a massive, concentrated fuel tank that lets them travel across deserts for, well, the article says around 40 days without needing water. It fuels the journey. 40 days crossing a desert, powered by fat. Still incredible. Okay, from the desert to the ocean. Sharks.
Yes, we think of them as constant hunters.
Right. Always needing to eat. But the source says they can actually go quite a while without a meal.
Surprisingly long, yeah. About 8 to 10 weeks.
Weeks, okay.
And what's really interesting, the article points this out, is that their hunting actually gets, well, more intense during these fasting periods.
Really? You'd think they'd conserve energy.
It seems the scarcity sharpens their focus, intensifies the drive. Maybe an evolutionary thing, making sure they succeed when the opportunity finally comes.
Huh. Necessity driving skill.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, back to land. Snakes. They're known for being pretty chill, metabolically speaking.
Oh, definitely. Snakes are masters of slowing down. The article mentions they can reduce their metabolism by a staggering 70%.
70%.
Yeah, especially during winter or just colder periods. Heart rate drops, respiration slows, everything goes into low power mode.
And that lets them last?
Yeah.
How long?
Potentially up to a year without food. It's a brilliant adaptation for when prey is scarce.
A year just by hitting the pause button. Incredible. Okay, next up. Spiders. Maybe not everyone's favorite, but they sound resourceful.
They are. The article notes they sometimes have hidden food reserves, little larders.
Ah, okay, little bundles of prey saved up.
Partly that, yeah. But beyond stashes, they can also significantly lower their metabolic rate when things get lean.
So they can wait it out too.
They can.
Mm.
The source suggests 3 to 4 months is possible, maybe even up to a year in some cases, without catching anything new, just conserving energy, waiting.
Months, maybe a year. Pretty tough for something that seems so fragile.
Okay.
Moving on to penguins. Braving the cold.
Yes, and the cold is key to their strategy too, it seems.
How so?
Well, similar to snakes in a way, they also reduce their metabolism when it's cold and food is scarce, helps them stretch their energy reserves.
Okay, and how long can they manage?
The article says around 2 to 4 months without food or water. And there's that fascinating breeding behavior, right? The males often fast for the entire period while they're incubating the eggs or guarding the chicks in freezing temperatures.
While the females are out hunting.
Exactly. Relying solely on their fat reserves. It's quite the commitment.
Serious parental dedication.
Okay.
Okay, switching gears again. Frogs. You see them hopping, you'd think they burn a lot of energy.
You would think, but they're surprisingly resilient. The article highlights they can survive weeks without food, which maybe isn't that surprising.
Right.
But in some cases, it could be up to 16 months.
16
months.
for a frog.
Yeah, over a year. It likely varies a lot by species, size, conditions, you know. But that upper limit is pretty astonishing.
Absolutely astonishing. Okay, next. Crocodiles.
Yeah.
Ancient predators. What's their trick?
Their trick is basically doing almost nothing. They are absolute masters of energy conservation.
Just staying still.
Pretty much. They move incredibly slowly or just stay motionless for hours, days even, waiting for prey to come close. Extremely low metabolic rate.
So they don't burn much fuel waiting.
Exactly. Allows them to survive for months between substantial meals. Patience is their virtue.
Don't chase, just wait. Got it. All right, let's talk big. Galapagos tortoises. Huge reptiles.
The largest living tortoises, yeah. And their endurance matches their size.
How long can they go?
This is another mind blower. According to the article, they can survive without food or water for potentially 2 to 3 years.
Years. 2 to 3 years.
Slow metabolism, large body to store reserves, relatively inactive lifestyle. It all adds up. They're like these slow-moving, living power banks.
That's almost hard to wrap your head around. 2 to 3 years. Okay, one more from the list. Bears. We know about hibernation.
Right. And hibernation, or more accurately, torpor for bears, isn't just sleep. It's a profound physiological state.
How does it help with fasting?
During that winter dormancy, their metabolic rate drops significantly. Body temperature lowers a bit too. This deep inactivity conserves vast amounts of energy.
So they just live off their fat stores from the summer and fall.
Exactly. Allows them to get through winter, potentially up to 100 days, without eating or drinking at all.
100 days. So
Yeah.
quite a range we've covered from, what, weeks for sharks up to a decade for the olm.
It's an incredible spectrum, yeah.
Yeah.
And the strategies are just as diverse. Storing fat, like camels and bears. Dramatically slowing metabolism, like snakes and olms.
And spiders, penguins.
Right. Or just conserving energy through inactivity, like crocodiles and tortoises. It's amazing.
It really highlights the sheer resourcefulness of life, doesn't it? The different ways evolution has found to solve the problem of scarcity.
It truly does. These animals are testaments to the power of adaptation, allowing life to persist in some really challenging conditions. Makes you appreciate the ingenuity baked into biology.
Absolutely. So thinking about all these examples, the olm lasting a decade, the tortoise for years, the camel trekking the desert, it kind of forces you to reconsider what the absolute basic requirements for life even are, you know?
That's a really interesting point. It pushes the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, what other completely unbelievable survival strategies are out there in the natural world? Maybe things we haven't even discovered or fully understood yet.
Right. The potential for resilience might be far greater and stranger than we usually imagine.
Definitely food for thought. Maybe listeners can pick one of these animals that really caught their attention and look a bit deeper into how they pull it off. There's always more to learn.
Always. The details of these adaptations are often even more fascinating than the headline numbers.